Hi, everyone. I don't know how many of you are out there. A very warm afternoon to all of you. Well, this is Hyderabad, so it's a hot afternoon. So, yeah, let's talk about visual engineering. And thank you, Shwati, for the kind words. And if I don't have engineering in the topic, people like Laksha will not allow me to talk to you. So I thought I should come up with a cool title, and hence visual engineering for you. And here is a cognitive science perspective. So I just wanted to use this 30 minutes and talk about both design and entrepreneurship to you guys. Well, we'll start with what we have in front of us, which is nothing but just words. So there are two words here, and that is visual and engineering. As all of us, including me, are engineers, we will start with what we are super comfortable with, which is engineering. So what do we know about engineering? If we ask, what is engineering? It's all about problem solving. So that's pretty much how we engineers are, or we live by this, right? And if I ask you one question, what is that one tool that you use to solve problems every day? Anything that can, anything at all? What tools do we use to solve problems every day? I don't know if you're commenting here. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And it is our brain. Of course, pen, paper, tools, frameworks, all of that is there. But the main tool that we use for solving problems is actually our brain. And when you talk about brain, you use your brain sometimes, and you use others' brain, right? And that's pretty much what we do. And when we are kind of using our brain and others' brain, we call it as collaboration. And sometimes if you're like me, then sometimes you talk to yourself, and that I call it a solo collaboration, right? And either ways, you're using this tool to really solve problems. So when you look at it from an engineering perspective, you have the system like this: input, process, output. And our human body is also a big system for that matter. You get your input through your sense organs, pretty much all the five senses. It takes it to the brain for perceiving things, and finally you have the gift of a thought. And that thought is what you are using to transform anything that is in front of you. You're using to solve problems, you're making meaning. Everything happens as a result of a thought. So from engineering point of view, we are very heavy on processing per se. And that is pretty much what the engineering side of the word talked about. Now, let's talk about the other word, visual, right? And where does this visual sit in this entire system? It sits here, a teeny wee bit. It is just one sense organ which is sending signals to our brain. And what kind of signals does it send? It sends two things. One, in terms of words, the other in terms of pictures. Words, ABC, 1, 2, 3, pictures, millions of them. And you would have heard this quote many, many times, right? A picture speaks 1,000 words. Really? Can we check it? Yeah. So I'm not sure if I will be able to see your answers, but let's go and have a pop quiz. Solve this for me, and you have about 5 seconds to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't have answers, don't worry. Try this. You again have 5 seconds to do this. Right? 1, I'm sure you have an answer by now. I didn't even go to 5, right? Yes, the answer is 5-star. Did you get an answer to the code? You don't believe me still, right? So let's go ahead and check one more thing. Again, you have 5 seconds to solve this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure if you have an answer. Try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Yes, the answer is pentagon. Yeah. And by now, you know the answer. What does your brain prefer, visual or words, right? How are we doing so far? Is it all making sense? Is visual and engineering, the words are clear? Yes, brilliant. Okay, from a scientific perspective, we sit and figure out all these things through research studies. And this was one of the studies that was done at MIT Media Labs. And we figured out that to read a word, our brain takes about 200 milliseconds. And to kind of process a picture, it takes about 13 milliseconds. If you do the math, it's about 15x, right? And I have seen studies where we were able to go from 15x to 60x. God has been unfair. He has given too much importance to visual processing. And you might be asking, then why do we have so many words, Karthi? Why is everything a printed word? Yes, I also had the same question, and I was asking this question again and again, and I found the answer recently. Looks like Industrial Revolution had some answers there, where our printing press could produce 26 letters and probably 10 numbers easily, and not millions of pictures. So we kind of put everything into books because it could be printed, scaled, repeated as quickly as possible. Do you know that? It's very funny when I found this out that our brain stores words as images, words as visuals. It remembers it's a shape. Yeah. You don't have to trust anything that I say. You check it for yourself. I bet you will be able to read this without any mistakes. Any mistakes, despite the misspellings. Are you able to do that? Yes? Yes? Brilliant. And are you feeling like this? How did that happen, right? That's exactly how your brain functions. And that is the reason why we should be using visual engineering also to solve problems. So let me give you a 101 of visual engineering, right? So these are all, if you kind of look at it, if you put any picture, will it be able to understand? There are some underlying principles using which you will be able to engineer these visuals. And that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you. So these are the 6 principles you will be able to use to kind of pull out any visuals, anything that you want to kind of articulate and put as an idea. You'll be able to say, this is dark, this is light, this is small, this is big, right? And you're comparing and contrasting before, after. And the other one is a sequence. You follow 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And I am in step number 2 out of 4. And these are all very easy things for us to understand. The other one is a recipe, a formula. This plus this will give you that. And that is a formula way of explaining. A hierarchy where you will talk about, okay, here is how you start and this is how you flow. And that's pretty much how hierarchy works. In terms of wholes and parts, oh, here is a big picture and here is a small picture. You are here, kind of a thing. And commonality in terms of, okay, between this and that, here is an intersection. And these are the 6 principles. I bet 90% of all your visual communication can be utilized just using these. The other person will figure it out. 90% is a good number. So instead of really telling you what to do with these things and taking you through the rabbit hole of theory and Gestalt psychology, what I wanted you to kind of go through today is shift gears and go ahead and see how we can apply and talk about these things. So let me take the extreme end, where using visual engineering, let me show some complex ideas using some simple visuals, things that will take you a long time to kind of understand. You will be able to figure it out right now. So how are we doing so far? Good? Yes, brilliant. Okay, so here are some 15 ideas that I want to share with you today. Super complex, abstract stuff. There's an entire economy living on this, but I wanted to share it with you so that when you walk out of this presentation, you will be able to look at your life with a new pair of eyes. And are we ready? All right. Okay, let's go ahead and look at life in a very broad 30,000 view perspective. If you see life, there are about 5 parts. I call this as elements of well-being. If these 5 things are taken care, you are having a great life. One is you, your health, your well-being. The second part is your relationship, your inner circle. The third part is your career, finance, and community. Depending upon where you are in your life stage, you can change a few things here and there. If at all you're pursuing a relationship, it will come second. If at all you're pursuing your career, that will come second. But one thing doesn't change. That's the bullseye, which, yeah, it just doesn't change. Now that we have seen the elements of well-being, let's go ahead and see the timeline of our life, right? Between every B and D, there is a C. Yeah. So how do I, yeah, alphabetically it works. But what does it mean? Between birth and death, there is something called as choice. The birth and the death is completely uncontrollable. I mean, we cannot control anything. We can influence to live longer, but that's about it. The choice is something that we control every single time. And if you are thinking about entrepreneurship, these things are super important, because only when you are clear, you will be able to create something awesome in this world. So when we are looking at a choice, your life is nothing but a sum of choices. You are kind of, summating various choices, because every single moment you take a choice, and that's pretty much what your life, whether it is a big one or a small one, is based on the choices that you took in your life. Okay, the first choice that you should take is about your health. The simple way, I mean, this is my 5 years of understanding health and fitness and weight loss and everything. There is only one thing that you have to ask, is one question: where does this fit into the farm to fork meter before it goes inside me? If it is less than 2, have it. If it is an apple, have it, because the farm to fork is 0. If it is an apple, don't have it, because farm to fork will be 7 or 8. And that's as simple as that. If you just follow this one question, one choice making question, then you are taken care, right? And now that you're healthy, let's go ahead and ask, okay, what am I going to do with the choice that I have made? Okay, go in and see to that you are completely tuned in, focused into the choice that you have taken. Yeah, if you're tuned out, if there are many things that you're doing versus there's one thing that you're doing, you will see a phenomenal difference when you are focused in. Try to focus in and not focus out, especially when you have made a choice. Now that you have made your choice and you're completely into it, how do you develop mastery? And if you look at that mastery, this is how it looks like. If you do it every single day, consistently, when you compound it, your competence increases. Sometimes my friends don't understand when I say it positively. So let me say the same things negatively to you. If you don't do it every day, you will become incompetent. Okay? Either ways, I'm saying the same thing, just using a similar visuals, right? Now that you have enough mastery, you have enough competence, and now what to do? Oh my God, Karthi, there's so much to learn. Where do I start? Hooray. Look at this. Your ignorance is always going to be far, far greater than the knowledge that you have. And this is going to be true even when you hit your grave, right? Isn't it true? Yes. So if that is the case, what should we be identified with? We should be identified with the ignorance. Anyway, we are going to die ignorance. So go ahead, tune in, my friends, take that little piece of knowledge and go deeper. That is what matters. Why FOMO? Anyways, it is going to happen as a phenomena. Probably you should go in the route of a JOMO, the joy of missing out. You are able to focus on one thing, the 99 things are not there. And that is pretty much a way to develop your joyfulness. And that's where you will not have a FOMO. Okay, now that you have developed this part, let's go ahead. How do I live in this world? There are some rules of the world. You have to understand how these rules work. So the better way to understand the rules is you follow them, you bend them, break them. Just following alone will not help you understand the rules. You have to do all three, especially as entrepreneurs, especially as creators. You should be able to really, really bring that understanding. When you understand rules, you know what to do with them. So that's pretty much where you will go when you know the rules. Okay, now that I know all of this, how do I go and learn more stuff? Here is how our brain learns. Your brain will not be able to think more. Why? Because thinking is very, very energy intensive. So the brain's only job, ironically, is to stop thinking, right? So when you are using your brain, you will be super time efficient. For example, you can run a 42.8-kilometer marathon in 4.28 seconds in your brain. But the actual doing takes a lot of time, practice, effort. So you can use the thinking part for you to do a lot of thinking upfront so that you are time efficient. You will be doing a lot of doing so that you are experience efficient. Now, when you're thinking and doing, you will be reflecting. That is where learning happens. Your learning does not happen when you're learning, but learning actually happens when you're reflecting. And that is the power of using this formula in a right way. So you think a lot, do a little, reflect a lot in the context, you will keep learning. And oh my God, I feel like a fraud, Karthi. There are a few things that I know, not just you, my friend. 70% of humankind goes through this imposter syndrome. Value, when we discount, it becomes an imposter because it comes easy to you. You think that it is not valuable for somebody else, and hence you are kind of feeling this way. So don't worry, keep going. Everybody has it. 7 out of 10, that's a big number, isn't it? So, oh, I have too many things to do. Not really. Just go and ask a question. Something that I love to do, something that I know that I have competence in, something that will really impact the world, something that I can use to make money. Your choice will be maximum 1 or 2. Where is this abundance coming from? You are always in scarcity. So just think about it and do that one thing, right? So your journey of 1,000 miles actually starts with that one step. You can sit and count. There are actually 1,000 little squares there. It starts step by step. So go ahead and focus on this progress. Now, when you ask, okay, now doing all of this, how can I kill it in career? Then this is your formula. Go ahead and find out what is your niche, depending upon your capabilities, opportunities that are available, resources that you have. That is your niche. That is where you will build an empire, not anywhere else, right? So if you kind of compare somebody else, their capabilities are different, the resources available to them are different, they might be chasing a completely different opportunity. You need to take responsibility for your career to figure out your niche. This is it, right? And now, I'm having a good idea about me, about the career. What kind of people I should have in my inner circle? Here is a simple formula for that. Yeah? Anybody, if you kind of look at yourself, right, you don't need anybody to complete you. You need somebody to enable you, right? Just don't allow them to disable you. So you're 1 already. So when something adds to 1, it should become 11. That's a great relationship. If that 1 is 2, okay, meh, optimal. If that 1 that is adding to makes you 0.5, toxic. Stay away from it. This is the golden rule of relationship. Hard but true. Take it. This is the kind of relationship you should be pursuing. Highly enabling relationships, right? Because your community will shape you. The kind of people you're surrounded by, they make you or break you. So it's super important that you do this. Now, by becoming all of this, you should start making money, right? And most of you are thinking about entrepreneurship, and some of you are employed. So I think this slide will change your mind completely. I got this from Naval Ravikant, where he says, earn with your mind, not with your time. If you are trading your time for peanuts, then that's all you will earn. So if you are thinking about financially crushing it, here is one simple way to think about it, right? Now, if you kind of look at everything that I have shared, I have just used the principles of visual engineering. I haven't used anything. Little squares, little boxes, and little arrows, and that's about it, right? So how are we doing so far? Is it making sense? Did we talk a little bit of abstract concepts using simple styles, simple ways of communicating? Yes? Ooh, awesome. Great. And if you really look at it, let me give you a recap. Yeah, this time we will do it in words, and let me see how much you're able to take it with you. Yeah, these are the 15 things we talked about. There's the first 5 elements of your well-being. Your choice is in your control. Living healthy is a choice. Making choice and focusing in completely. Your competence builds consistently by compounding it. And ignorance is far, far greater than knowledge. So why are you having FOMO? master the rules of life, learning how to learn. It's okay to have an imposter because you're discounting the value. That's about it. There are not that many choices, my friends, and go step by step. Choose your career consciously, choose your relationships, choose your tribe as they shape you, and learn with the mind, not with the time. And if you notice distinctly, I have used visual engineering, I have used verbal engineering. Where do you see the effect was maximal? Where was the impact very high? Be honest. Yeah, of course, visuals. Yes, yes, yes. So, and hence, let me close this by saying, talk less, say more. Yeah. How many of you are great MasterChef Australia fans? Yeah. Yeah. What is that? Ray, if you had just put that visual of idli and sambar, it would have made more sense. Why do all of this? Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, it is the visuals. Thank you. And if you would like to get in touch or anything, here you go. My Twitter bird is a little fat, just showing how I am doing. Awesome. Great. Any questions? Do we have time for questions? I'm trying to put all of this inspirations into a book. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I have something like a 100-day deadline to see if I can translate all of this so that it can be a coffee table book and you can read it every day. Let's see how it goes. I'm planning to do that. Awesome. Any questions that I should be answering? All right. Question, yes. All right. Okay, for time reasons, I will bid a goodbye to all of you. And if there are questions, you know where to catch me. I'm all over the internet, especially in the digital world. So feel free to, and I hope this helped you. And hopefully you will talk less and say more going forward using the principles of visual engineering. We will leave it with part 2 and a sequel. If you want to learn how to do this from like live, how can we start using these principles? We'll do that probably as part 2 sometime. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. You have an awesome, awesome weekend, whatever is left.